Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Chocolate Saiyan, Flatzoid, and 10th Man, I believe, in G+. Very good to have you all.
Good afternoon, how's it going?
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. We're also joined by, I know, half a dozen or so people in Discord. Very good to have you also. Super enthusiastic Discord server. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from
Go flat and flat.
not from New Jersey.
To be fair, only Matthias was off mute. My bad, Discord, sorry. Not your fault.
Good afternoon.
Hello, God Scalpel, Matthias, Earth-Shaped Investigator, Dougie, and Darren.
Good afternoon.
So, any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Nope.
That's a definite no.
Nope.
Like Paul's having a few internet issues. Hey, Paul.
Well, yeah, the link
Show up in Skype. I may have to reset. I was just checking to see if you guys were over here.
Yeah, all is well, all is working, in spite of an OBS update. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No such thing.
Just a concept.
Don't let it get you down there.
Don't let
Gravity doesn't exist.
I'll try not to.
Hello.
Gravity doesn't exist. It's just a made-up word.
I just
Any
posted
evidence?
a quote from NASA explaining that they don't have a clue about what
They don't have a clue what gravity is, did you say?
that's NASA's word.
You're clipping.
Evidence of the
They're
distance to the
still
sun?
searching. They're still searching for what has to be there in order for their cosmology to work. That's it.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Nope.
No apparent distance.
Any evidence of a
How
south
about what the
pitch?
sun is made of?
Yeah. I don't think the
How
sun
about
is
what?
made of
What the
anything.
sun is made of?
Stay tuned. I'm going to put a presentation together on spectroscopy. It's like 3 years too late. And if you thought evolution was a train wreck belly laugher, then somebody hold evolution's beer. Because what we got coming is spectroscopy or spectroscopy. They can't even say the friggin' word. Wait till you see this. Ha!
So it's not made of hydrogen and helium or whatever and so on and so forth?
I think it's made of light.
It certainly seems that way.
Uh-huh.
Can you be made of light?
Oh, it certainly
And,
appears so.
Yeah, the light that comes from it takes like, a few million or billion years because of the gravity of the sun before it actually emerges, and then takes the 8 minutes to come to our eyes. So, yeah, quite a bit going on there.
Where'd you get that number?
That's what they say.
Sorry, you lost me at gravity.
That's what they say. He's correct.
Wouldn't the number, that 8 minutes, be based on transit of Venus, bounce, radii bounce, presuppositions of Venus being the same size as Earth, Earth being a
No,
sphere?
he's talking about something else. He's talking about photons in the core and in a radiative zone bouncing around for about 1 million years before they get released.
Yeah, and then take 8 minutes to get to us, based on presuppositions of a sphere-shaped Earth, Venus being a sphere same size as Earth, application.
Yeah, and they also call it a black body too. Just wait, man. Just wait.
Black body? I've not... What? The sun?
Yeah, they say it's a black body emitter, but just hold off. Just move on.
Oh,
There's
okay.
nothing to see here.
Nothing to
just
see
yet.
here, folks. Nothing to see. Okay. Any evidence?
Oh man, you got us all in suspense now. I'm hanging on to the hydrogen and helium. Don't take that away from me, man. Not the hydrogen and helium.
Hanging on as you ascend with relative density.
Hey, John, look at my screen. You remember that thing I was playing on Friday? This is from the Colorado State University. So if this will help any in your illustration, just let me know.
Yeah, in fact, I just had this or a graph just like this. That was a transparency that I have to hook up, but it's ironic that you would pull this up. Yeah, so the ideal black body is the gold line, and the sun is, yeah, it just went off, is the rainbow colors. But thanks anyway. I'll get it hooked up.
Yeah, I'll drop that link in there just in case you want to play with it or use it or whatever. I'll drop it in the Skype.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Never.
So how can the sun be hydrogen?
Still waiting for demonstrations otherwise.
Just walk outside.
Hold on, it sounds like
So how can the sun be hydrogen gas in a vacuum? Huh?
Can't,
A ball of hydrogen gas in a vacuum.
Can't be.
All right?
Can't be.
Easy, John, it can't.
This is the other simulator that was in that same website, so it's kind of funny. Colorado State University has these simulators going on, so I'll drop that one as well.
What happens with a gas when you open the container? I've got it on screen, Paul.
It disperses.
Oh, he's pumping it up. Did he just blow the lid off?
No, that was Maxwell's demon.
No, I actually, I was going to tell you, this is actually a simulator, so it's not really a video. I'm actually manipulating everything on the screen that you're seeing. So
no.
I can increase the temperature.
There was me thinking this was. There was me thinking that was a real fire, and.
Well, I know, yeah. You can also cool it down. if you want to do Kelvin or Celsius, you can put more in here. Watch this. This is fun. If you put a bunch in here, you increase the temperature. Watch what happens to the lid. Boop, it pops.
Very good.
Hey, send that to Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard.
Okay. I'm going to keep these in the background anytime this discussion ever comes up. I want to have them up, ready to go.
So, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
I think they stopped arguing that, I think, on the globe side. The more proficient globers aren't really talking about the so-called molten iron core. I think they've moved on from that. They've given up on that, I think.
It's part of their
They
rhetoric.
don't have much to add to it.
I like how
really
it's
did.
described by way of men in trenches who come here to argue. So, right, they've given up on that very specific and detailed part of their presuppositional rhetoric of a sphere. Oh, I don't care. It's part of their rhetoric.
Yep.
To the point where it's taught to school children still.
And there are no takebacks.
Right. There's no, oh, we don't like that bit of the rhetoric. Our religion doesn't really need that when we argue it. Yeah, it's part of your rhetoric.
Yeah, ignore it now and move on to the next topic. That's all they
Next
do.
topic kind of includes the last, though. Any evidence of the R value, the presuppositional radius, attributed to almost all of these proofs of an Earth that's spherical.
Yeah, Armin and here. Just too much assumptions.
Shout out
Nathan,
to,
can't you just look? Can't you
Go
just
on.
measure the stars in the sky and come up with the radius? Ain't that the way it works?
That's what they do. Shout out to David Rakia Gafford. Pass. I'm on moot. Globe Troll, share your pain, Rakia life. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, David Rakia Gafford.
Mine all in one.
Was there a... I thought there was a NASA something about a satellite that finally measured the radius or the shape of the Earth or something properly.
Where
I
was
could
the
have been
satellite?
mistaken.
Where was the satellite?
Somewhere doing measurement stuff out there.
Where specific? Up there? Where's up there?
Wherever they say it is, low Earth orbit, geostationary, in between the Lagrange point or Jupiter, I don't know, whatever they say it is.
What's the region that it's apparently in, according to them?
Violation of so on and so forth. Narnia.
Oh, they're claiming it's the satellite that's measuring the radius is in space, outer space, a second law of thermodynamics violation, a sky vacuum. That's definitely not true then.
Yeah, it's
No,
interesting
Nathan,
how it hasn't been done until recently. I got to try and find that. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken, but I think it says finally they've measured. I don't know. Let me check that out.
But
Yeah,
Nathan, there's differential pressure up there. Come on, that's the vacuum. It's differential pressure. Come on, you understand this, don't you?
It's a scalar.
But what's pressing on top of that?
Yeah, without the container, there can be no pressure. So a delta is irrelevant. To have gas pressure in the first instance, you'd require a container. Their alleged containerless gas that we have here on Earth, next to this medium they claim this satellite in, violates natural law. Gas law.
Gas law and the second law of thermodynamics. So it's taking two, not just one. There's probably a boatload of other ones with it.
Well, wait a minute, though. There's theory that we've practically theorized it out, and there's this law thing. They work together somehow. And, we've come up with this scalar, high dimension, whatever you want to call it.
It's got a vector.
Got a vector, yes.
That's
Well,
nice.
you have one gas particle floating around in your simulator.
It's down to the last particle, is it?
Yeah, it's almost leaving.
So
Yeah, it's
something I've been hearing.
Pray silence. Hold on.
heard
Sorry,
during
chocolate.
the weekend.
Hold on.
I'm
Hold
sorry.
on. Sorry.
And it's out.
Hold on, Owen. So pray silence for what would happen if Earth was in a vacuum. See that last little dot disappearing into the sky vacuum? That's what would happen. The gas would fill the space.
Yeah, and the temperature also went from 0 to no temperature reading. Did you notice that switch?
No.
Very
Dead
bad
right now.
news.
Let's put it that way.
Here, I'll give you some more gas to play with. Hang on. We'll observe some more gas. Bear with me.
What, to
There we
observe
go.
also.
I wanted to bring up something I heard over the weekend was that apparently globers are thinking that the second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to our system because it only applies to an isolated system. Can we can we go through that one more time for the people that that don't understand that entropy is actually a thing?
Come on, natural law is selective.
Not going through it again.
I don't mind. First, we'll just describe the fallacy that they're using. It's called special pleading. This natural law doesn't apply to my religious sky vacuum belief. Therefore, the sky is a vacuum. Special pleading. Also, circular reasoning as used by Zanuck in this last example. Just published today as a little trimmed out clip. So, pointing at the sky vacuum and saying, well, it doesn't necessarily apply because here we have, look, sky vacuum. Look, I'm pointing at it. My fundamentalist religious belief in this sky vacuum is proven by me pointing at it. Circular reasoning. So it's either special pleading or circular reasoning. Them asserting that the isolated system used to describe this particular law, in this instance the second law of thermodynamics, a closed system isn't necessarily going to be compared to an isolated system that doesn't exist in nature. Equally, there is no ideal gas. It's an oversimplification to describe the parameters of gas in general, and you simplify it to make it applicable everywhere. Not so that you can say, oh, well, if you're only describing gas law with ideal gas and you're only describing the second law of thermodynamics with isolated systems, then they don't apply to my religious belief in a sky vacuum. That's special pleading. The isolated systems may not apply in nature, only apply in the example to simplify it, not because they don't apply to open or closed systems. They absolutely do. It's just a way of describing it simplistically. Same goes for ideal gas law. We have no ideal gas. Does that mean that this law doesn't apply to gas? Absurd.
But I don't know if you noticed
that was exactly my point. Thank you very much.
I don't know if you noticed how fast I pumped this.
Good timing, Paul. Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just saying, I don't know if you noticed, I put more gas in this container, and from the length of your conversation, we're back down to one particle. Now imagine if there was no walls on this container, what would happen?
What if it just had the floor? Oh, it wouldn't even retain this single particle. It would just instantaneously fill the available volume.
Right, exactly.
I'm thinking now, imagine it was like it with the dynamics. As all the air is coming up, you're busy trying to catch all the air to breathe as it's escaping.
Just
imagine everybody jumping around. I gotta breathe.
Just in case anybody's not quite following this analogy. So we're going to pretend, for the audience only, because the guys in Hangouts can't see my mouse pointer, we'll pretend that this line at the bottom of this chamber is the ground we stand upon. So this is you, this is a little dude here, and he's standing on the ground. Now obviously Earth would be bent in their sphere reification. That's the first problem. That's not a big issue. But also there's no walls. There's no sides. Yeah? Now, this is analogous to the ground in your fundy religious belief of Earth being a sphere. And this black bit here, that's the sky vacuum that you think you have. Just an empty space for this gas to fill. Now, does it do that? No, we have gas pressure. And the necessary antecedent to have gas pressure would be a container, which will now be exampled by Paul making this box, something that Earth in a sphere reification is not analogous to because it doesn't have walls or a lid. It's claimed to just be next to a sky vacuum. But if we did have gas pressure, which we do, it would mean that there'd be the necessary antecedent at play. So if you can pop a lid on it, Paul, you'll see how we achieve actual gas pressure. I don't know if Paul can hear me. Oh, here we go. So now we have a container, a fixed volume for the gas to occupy. So therefore we have gas pressure. There it is. There's the gas pressure. Now, bearing in mind that this is still analogous to the sky vacuum they claim, but in this example, to have the pressure, we need a container. Now, the reification of the heliocentric model with a world that's a sphere traversing a sun at the centre of a solar system has gas next to a vacuum. No lid, no walls, just the ground and the sky vacuum. Now this is what debunks outer space. The sky is not a vacuum, because if it was, as Paul will now demonstrate, the gas would fill the available volume. In other words, we wouldn't have any gas pressure if the sky was a vacuum, because this is what would happen. The gas would fill the space.
Nathan, may I give the final baller rebuttal to that?
There is no rebuttal to this, Arwin, but you feel...
Yeah, you know there is one. There's always one. You want to hear it?
You're about to tell me about the bending of a conceptual medium
No,
to give rise to a...
No, gravity's not involved, actually.
Okay, go on.
It's a little smarter than that. Now, but Nathan, look, isn't the sky actually being a vacuum the proof that the second law of thermodynamics is wrong?
Then it wouldn't be a law.
Well, maybe that is the claim.
If you're saying...
You wouldn't be breathing.
If you're saying pointing at the sky vacuum and asserting that it is a vacuum, doesn't that violate the second law of thermodynamics? No, a baseless assertion doesn't debunk a natural law. No.
No, I have the most recent rebuttal from Toady Retard that put it under your video that you ran a few hours ago, Outer Space Debunked by Gas Law. Toady Retard commented on it. He said, this is his rebuttal. It's very simple. You assert that a container is required and you won't accept the force acting as a container. You assert you need a physical container. So then show us the container, where it is or what it's made of. Oh, you say you cannot. Shame on you. You, sir, are a certifiable retard. And we're going to show everybody here in about 10 minutes. We're going to show your first toe tag in honor of your dumbass. You're a schmuck. Thanks.
Let's open again.
I don't mind using that as a segue to do it now, unless anybody's got anything to add in Discord or otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, I never
like
got a proper response, though.
Go ahead, Arwin. And 10th Man, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Paul, since you got this from the Colorado EDU site, do they have an option to show a gravity box proving their sphere, or is that not here?
I looked for it. I didn't see anything in any of these simulators that talked about gravity.
Okay, that's all.
Sorry, so think that you're trying to say gravity container?
Well, it's obvious that...
Isn't that weird, though? That if gravity affected gas, wouldn't they have that somewhere in this little
well,
app?
No, but
wouldn't that be an option? Gravity on, gravity off, because gravity is a thing.
Yeah, but chocolate. The issue with designs like this, with elaborate emulators, is as soon as you start to introduce fictional presupposed mechanisms, the simulator becomes a lot more difficult and non-fluent because it doesn't work like reality anymore.
See what they're doing here.
Oh, so
that's why they don't do it. It's too
difficult.
difficult.
They're on the really is level right now.
Yeah, a machination is much more difficult to tinker out, being seemingly real, than just using real elements in a simple emulator.
Hey, hillbilly blue balls, redneck retard. You see this diagram on screen right now that Paul's showing you? You see that little hole at the top and how it's taken a lot of time for the gas to come up because the surface area of the container is very small. You see that, you redneck retard.
And I was gonna say something, maybe just to unpack it just a little bit more. When you, Nathan, when you say entropy is increasing, basically inside the box the entropy is increasing. The entropy on the outside of the box is decreasing because the particles are going out. Correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's entropy increase.
Do what? Say it again.
That's entropy increase.
Right. The box inside the entropy is increasing inside the box because the particles are escaping.
And they're increasing outside the box also.
Correct. They're increasing in, they're increasing out. It's all entropy increase. You said it's decrease outside the box because it's escaping. No, that's entropy increase.
Well, that's the reason I say that is that's kind of what I've been hearing. Like the entropy of the system is static, so to speak. That's what I've been hearing from Zanuck and other people. That's the reason I wanted you to clarify that.
What they're doing is trying to juxtapose the first law with entropy.
Yes. they're trying to make it so that entropy is not actually a thing, which is why I heard, because the definition of the second law of thermodynamics is entropy in an isolated system. Oh, that means that if we don't live in an isolated system, entropy doesn't affect us. And I was like, what? What's going on? That's crazy.
Yeah, so the natural laws, the laws of thermodynamics, the principal pillar of physics from your boy Einstein doesn't apply to nature. You frigging clowns.
Well, and think about this too, and John, you would probably agree with this. Like, there's no added temperature in this, and the temperature is decreasing. But if you have this thing called the sun that is adding constant heat, watch what happens. It gets faster and faster, and the particles want to move more and more. And if I actually open this up and I keep the heat on, the process will continue even faster.
So you're saying, hold on. So you're saying the heat, analogous to the sun in this example that you're giving, is increasing entropy.
Yep.
Yeah, more energy.
Say that one more time for people like Zanuck, Nathan. What is it doing?
No, and for people like George, the Pontiff Maximus of Retardia, and Rumpus, and all their mindless parroters.
What's interesting is that this university is showing this diagram to prove natural law of how gas behaves, but they have no idea. At the same time, it's showing that you can't have gas pressure without a container in relationship to this Earth.
Any more for any more? If not, we'll. I'm gonna just so you know, in Discord, I'm gonna be deafening, muting myself, just so it doesn't cause any audio issues when I play this video. So, if anybody's got anything to say in G+, say it now.
Lest anyone forget, Toady, hard today, retard.
Say that again. I halfway muted you just before you started. Sorry.
Lest we forget the Toady retard, the first toe tag of this crayon munching, mouth breathing knuckle dragger.
Okay, so this is a toe tag from 2 or 3 months ago, and I'm just going to play it out. You can enjoy for yourself. Third presentation.
Yeah, the third one is someone sent this to me, and this is from Toadley Liley. His experiment. I think he's one of the knuckleheads on Jose's show. His experiment. So I'll just read the first 3 lines. Or the first 4. What is the Lake test using the scientific method and approach? The Lake test is a test. Really? A little bit redundant there, don't you think? As follows. Following the views of scientific expedient. What is scientific expedient?
I think it's called word salad.
Hypothesize and falsifiable evidence. So his observation, everyone listen up. If the Earth is a globe, then why does the lake surface appear to so flat? Hypothesis. Okay, wait a second.
That's a nice
hypothesis.
observation.
The lake is flat and there is no curvature of the Earth. So let me get rid of this. I copied this. Make it easier. Let's take a look at this. Oh, so we know who we're talking about. It's this dumb animal right here. It appears he and Jesse and George.
It's a lion. Who else identified as a lion?
Do you have a name?
These guys are getting in cahoots, boy. Better watch out.
Aslan from Narnia.
Aslan.
That's who he's. Closed thermoses are open systems. George Hanatuck. Boy, this thing is going to work out well. But this is who we're talking about here. All right, let's check this out. So I wrote this up so we could see it better. So, Toady Moron, here, like I said, I just copied what he wrote. Let's go over this again. So, the lake test is a test, right? So the test is a test. That's profound. As follows: following the views of scientific expediency. I don't know what that means. I've never heard that before in my life. Hypothesize. Make sure you get some spell check action going on there, brother. And falsifiable evidence. So let me run this by you one more time. The observation: if the Earth is a globe, then why does the lake surface appear so flat? ? Any comments?
Can I just answer the question? Because it's not a globe, it is in fact flat.
No. This is the observation.
Yeah, but that's not an observation.
Oh, okay. We'll go with the usual. It's not an observed phenomena.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in a second. I thought I'd leave that out there for you. So his hypothesis: the lake is flat and there is no curvature of the Earth.
Independent variable, dependent variable, null hypothesis.
We're getting there. Okay, let's make it quick. Asshat. You'd fail 5th grade general science and a 60-level basic reasoning course. Let's take a look at this observation. If the Earth is a globe, then why does the lake surface appear so flat? So number 1, observations are not questions. Number 2, it's observe a natural phenomena and not observation. Number 3, why does the lake surface appear so flat is a concrete noun, not a phenomenon. Number 4, the natural phenomena observed is your dependent variable. So what's the dependent variable in your train wreck question observation up here? I'm going to take the liberty here in a second to figure out what it is, because there's not one, but I'm going to give them one. So, hypothesis: the lake is flat and there is no curvature of the Earth. Dipshit: scientific hypotheses are cause and effect suppositions. What's the dependent variable again? I'll tell you what, let's use your train wreck question observation. Lake surface appears so flat. All right, we're going to use this as the dependent variable because it's the only one that's semi-coherent, even though it's not a dependent variable. We got to use something. Number 3, what's the independent variable? That is the cause of your lake surface appear so flat. Train wreck question observation dependent variable. There is no curvature of the or Earth, or is there some combination thereof? So let's take a look at this. So is causes lake surface appear so flat? Is that the one? No causes lake surface appear so flat? Let's combine them. No curvature causes lake surface appear so flat? Of causes lake surface appear so flat? The causes lake surface appear so flat? Or Earth causes lake surface appear so flat? Which one of these?
This is incoherent nonsense.
Say again?
Yeah, you can't pull one out. It's incoherent nonsense that doesn't have one. So you're not going to pull out an independent or a dependent variable out of this completely incoherent nonsense. But I applaud your attempt.
Yeah, I had to try something. So an easy way to tell, other than just the slap in the face incoherency, is to formulate the null. So here's the null for each of these independent variables. Does not cause lake surface appear so flat? No, does not cause lake surface appear so flat? No curvature does not cause lake surface appear so flat? Of does not cause lake surface appear so flat? The does not cause lake surface appear so flat? Or Earth does not cause lake surface appear so flat? Please, we need to hear this. We need to get this ironed out before you do your test. And for the last one, and this is what I was talking about when I was priming this with Arwen. I was just screwing around yesterday and jumped in. I seen Arwen's mug on there. So I just jumped in along with Toadie's. This is what Toadie had to say. He's talking about fossils and walking along the beach. So Toadie, you walk up the beach and you see the very basic creatures at the bottom, and you walk up a bit and there is more advanced creatures. Then there is nothing for a few layers. Then there's more advanced creatures, and then pseudo dinosaurs. I'd like to know what that is. And fish. But as you walk through those layers, you can see that those layers were different elements of time. Really? So rock layers are clock. Clown show. You see this? You see all this that you're mindlessly parroting? that you tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes? This belly laugher is a formal logical fallacy, denying the antecedent. Follow. If P, then Q. Not P, therefore not Q. So let's just add it to your little train wreck above. If they are buried together, P, then they both existed together, Q. They're not buried together, not P, therefore they didn't exist together, therefore not Q. You see, this is what you get for Parrot and Wiki. So, Toady, in conclusion, you're a certifiable Wiki Discovery Channel parroting pretender clown AAA retard. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day.
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley...
Observation was lake. Right. Observation was if the lake is flat.
The lake was flat. How do we make it a ball?
Love to see him vary something in that.
Because I used the opportunity to round out, John. I didn't get a chance to say great presentations. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I hope I was quick enough. I just didn't want to take a long time.
Your timing was epic. That was like almost perfect on the hour mark. I like to round out the show after an hour. The live show, I mean.
Did anyone have any comments?
It was great.
It was a good presentation. Very good.
And
no, I'm not talking about the presentation.
And thanks for the compliment.
I liked seeing a formulated denying the antecedent. I've got to admit, as I was reading through his statement, I wouldn't have spotted that. It's because I'm so unfamiliar with denying the antecedent formal logical fallacy, but I probably wouldn't have... I obviously got it when you scrolled down and formulated it for me, but I don't think I'd have spotted that. Anybody else? Be honest. Let me just ask the panel. I don't know how well acquainted you are with that logical fallacy. Maybe this is a pointless question, but would anybody else have spotted that logical fallacy?
Yeah, if I saw the necessity of it, but to be fair, John's approach seems to me sometimes a little excessive. But yeah, correct.
You're not kidding, right? I was like, oh, I applaud your efforts for formulating it into the hypothesis. Then he does exactly the same with the null. It's like, that's attention to detail right there. Do it again with the null. Brilliant.
That's how you do it. That's how you figure out. Well, if it's not slapping your face stupid,
I was about to say,
then you just do the null.
That's rubbing it right in his face, though, isn't it? Let's do it again with the null. If not this, if not this, if not this, and just use every word in the sentence till you find that none of them, literally none of them, are going to formulate a null or an alternative, because none of them have got a dependent or an independent variable. It's like the biggest train wreck ever. Cool. Very cool.
So we can still
affirm
that we don't know what our hypothesis is.
That was very weird hearing my own voice.
Toady! Retard! You're exposed again. That's only one. That's one of about 4. But I didn't want, lest we forget, I didn't want anyone to forget about it. You're welcome. Clown.
He's also a demonstrated liar. So you had, I don't know if it was on another toe tag, but you had Toady Clown's actual quoted words, then him reading back his own words and substituting them with other words that he preferred in his new rendition of a quote of himself.
Yep, that's what they do.
Oh, I'd prefer if I'd have phrased it this way, so because it's my words, I'll change my own quote.
We're in a carnival tent, man.
Oh, I'm still on server mute in Discord.
Are they off mute?
They are now, yeah.
Discordia. Come off mute and share your pain.
Kosho's here. Hey, Kosho.
I don't think you can get ballers to get off moot. Because once you go moot, you know?
What? Once you go moot, you what?
Yeah, you don't get a point back.
Okay. I think you're confusing. Once you go black, you'll never go back.
No.
I think Chocolate's about to correct you.
No, that's not what I wanted to say at all. No. It's just that going on moot, when you're moot, when your point is moot, you have no point. So
I told you.
once you go on moot, you don't get a point back. That was my point.
Once you go moot, you don't give a hoot.
That's more like it. Oh.
Ballers!
Lots of grating noises.
Come out and play!
Oh god, that's horrible.
They're gonna come out and play. That's funny.
Oh, please stop it. It's horrible.
That's not gonna attract them, John.
Yeah, we got John is in the Warriors now.
Maybe we ask them something specific. Hey, Kosho, why don't you explain how our discussion on gas pressure is wrong?
John?
Go ahead,
John?
whoever said that. Go ahead. Can you say yes, John, just to get that conversation going?
Yes.
How are any of you guys still flat earthers after being gutted and proven wrong over and over?
By who?
Calm down. Calm down. Go ahead. What's your claim, my friend? What's your name, first of all? Is it Bryden?
Hello.
I mean, if I was embarrassed and proven wrong, I wouldn't just keep saying the same wrong stuff.
Well, apparently you are.
Let's not get into this back and forth about nonsense. Do you have anything to claim?
So all he has is nuh-uh.
Flat Earth
You're wrong.
Any useful information.
Flat Earth, flat Earth.
You got anything coherent, bro? Is that what you got? You guys are wrong. Tell us what you got. Share your pain, brother.
He's got straw man.
Flat Earth has never produced any useful
Got a
information
shed
for
full of
society.
hay. That's what he's
Hold
got.
on. Go ahead.
Satellites prove orbits and gravity in spherical Earth.
Excellent. Now we're talking. Excellent. Where are the satellites?
If I were wrong over and over, I wouldn't just keep repeating the same wrong, embarrassing stuff.
Although you've said that exact same sentence like 4 times now.
Guys, why is it that you want to rise to his complete distraction from his now claim that he's made and address that? I asked a question in response to your claim that satellites prove a spherical Earth. My question was, where, specifically, are those satellites? Over.
The heliocentric model on spherical Earth perfectly predicts solar eclipses in the ground tracks.
Sorry,
Is this a
did you not hear my question? Are you deaf?
This sounds like a recording or something.
Recording.
Like somebody being stupid.
No, I think people
Looks like
really
we're gonna have
are-
red herring
It's based on celestial sphere.
Sorry, are you saying that the satellites are in the heliocentric model? Because that was my question, and your answer was the heliocentric model works, or words to that effect. So are you saying the satellites are in a model?
Henry Cavendish isolated the force of gravity and measured it directly.
Are you just
Ask him what is. Hold on a second. Hold on a
You
second.
may be
Ask him
right
what is,
about the recording.
Hey, Arwen, hold on a second. Ask him what his favorite color is.
What's your favourite colour?
Indigo.
Oh, I thought I'd catch him.
Braden, do you want a cracker, bud?
So, do you want to focus on one of these assertions, or do you just want to keep spewing endless assertions and not addressing any rebuttals?
I think he must have designed a flow chart right in front of him to keep just general factoids right in reach, so he doesn't have to Google it all the time.
So far,
But you say gravity is a force.
All maps are based on a sphere, and they're accurate.
Hey, there he goes again. I think he's just using the tape and then over talking it.
No. He's
keep
got a
him on
flow
the same
chart.
question about the satellites.
He's got a flow chart of data, and he's not shy to go and red herring every single question we ask.
So far, we've had an assertion. It's had a rebuttal that's been ignored. Now, I'm not content to just listen to endless baseless assertions ignoring every rebuttal. I want to start at the first point that you made. Satellites prove it's a sphere, Earth that is, and we'll go from there. If you can't handle any rebuttal, then I'm just going to have to remove you because you're clearly just here to spew rhetoric, rather than address any rebuttal that comes your way after any claim you make.
The horizon drops as you go up in altitude, and you can use this fact to measure the radius of the
Bye-bye, lard ass.
You're not engaging in us. What you're doing is spewing rhetoric and ignoring any challenge to the rhetoric and moving on to the next piece of rhetoric that you want to spew here.
What a debate.
Nathan Oakley fails at debate and has to mute people because he's a pussy.
You're not getting muted.
Wow.
You aren't addressing any rebuttals.
Is that Timmy? You can debate anyone.
Who it is. So far, he's made a baseless assertion. Several of them, in fact. And when we try to address them, he ignores it and moves on.
Yeah, so let's make it simple. Let him choose someone to debate, and we try again.
Well, no,
Equatorial mounts are designed based on a spherical Earth, and they work perfectly at tracking all objects.
Just a baseless assertion. It's clear that if we try to engage you in any of these baseless assertions, you will ignore all rebuttals as demonstrated. So, are you simply a religious zealot here to spew rhetoric? Because that is precisely what you are doing.
Can I say something real quick, Nathan?
Proven wrong so many times that there's no point in responding to the monkeys.
You're ignoring our rebuttals. You're ignoring our rebuttals. So you're saying there's no point responding. You're not responding, you're spewing rhetoric.
An equatorial mount points at the ground at nighttime when it's tracking the sun.
Who is this? Who is this guy? Is he in Discord?
I don't know. He's just reading off. He's reading off something, a list that he's got, but he can't actually back any of his baseless assertions when challenged by a rebuttal. He just ignores the rebuttal and moves on to his next piece of rhetoric that he wants to spew to bolster his fundamentalist religious belief in the rhetoric he is spewing, which is unchallengeable. This is zealotry, not a debate. Whenever I challenge something, he'll bring up a new baseless assertion that is being muted when he isn't.
Is he in
You can see the ISS yourself. And this proves gravity.
There's a new baseless assertion. At any stage, will you address any response that we give you?
Flat Earth has been proven wrong and over again.
You're no longer part of this conversation, because it's not a conversation. It's you, a religious zealot, spewing rhetoric.
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this guy in Discord?
Yeah.
I can't see. Who is it?
He's gone.
Presumably left after I server muted him.
Nah, he was still in there, but his icon wasn't lighting up. What was his name?
I don't know. I can't see. It's too small.
Not in there no more.
I think it was rated in 2001.
You're in both Discord and Google Plus, Paul. A nice demonstration that there's virtually no delay, though, just in case any fundies come along and lie that there's massive delay between the two. There isn't.
I muted myself or got out of Discord.
So we've got religious fundamentalist zealots that come here to spew their rhetoric. They don't want to engage in us in debate. They're not interested in debate. They're only interested in asserting their fundamentalist religious assertions without challenge.
So with Kosho, I don't understand. Kosho has joined the live stream, and Kosho, you're listening to the live stream, and then you're just typing, but you don't want to come on. I don't know. It's a bit confusing.
If he types, he doesn't verbally have to deal with any challenge to his rhetoric. It just gets dedicated to a text box. Head in the sand. It's either deal with our religious zealotry.
Floaters on the way up to the moon.
Oh, you're the same dude. I just server muted you. You just keep asserting religious zealotry. You're not actually addressing
Flat earthers
anything.
aren't smart enough to figure out
you
IT.
seem to be using the globe head mute button and talking through me. I'm pointing out for about the 5th time that you're not engaging anything I say. This that I'm stating now will not be addressed by a fundamentalist religious zealot. It will be ignored in favour of spurting and spewing further religious rhetoric. So you won't address this that I've just pointed out. You'll just spew new rhetoric because you're demonstrating how fundamentalist you have to be a sphere believer. Because what you say cannot be challenged. That's zealotry.
He's just playing pre-recorded.
SpaceX gave us a high-definition live stream on a rocket launch of a car in the...
Zealotry. Nothing we ever say to that will get addressed.
John, it's curmudgeon for your interest.
Yeah, Dungeon or whatever he has. That's his name in Discord.
Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon, yeah, curmudgeon. He's there now, and now he's typing, and then he's saying, "Lol, they have to run away when they get outdone."
No, we didn't run away. We asked him what region the satellites were in. That was his first assertion. After a load of ad hominem attacks that I tried to quell by stopping the panel reacting to them. Finally, we got an assertion. Satellites prove the Earth's sphere. That was his first assertion. I asked him where the satellites were, and he moved on to his next piece of religious zealotry and spewed that. And when I pointed out, following his next assertion that wasn't addressed after his first assertion was addressed by me, he went on to spew a third piece and a fourth piece. This is zealotry. He can assert it and then say, oh, it's not allowed to be challenged. No, he challenged it. You just ignored the challenge because you are all globe-head fundamentalist religious zealots. Nothing you say can be challenged. If it is challenged, the challenge will be ignored in favour of the next piece of rhetoric you hold so dear to. Sad, pathetic. Science deniers and their rhetoric. It's all they have.
Yep.
And just for the Glober's knowledge, I got it up on my screen. NASA has this huge scientific balloon program, and I think back in the early years they used to call it the instruments they put on these balloons satellites, I believe. Didn't they do that? And they're one of the biggest consumers of helium in the world.
No, satelloons, you mean?
No, not one of the biggest consumer of helium.
No, they actually called them satellites in the original beginning. They're calling them satelloons now. But when they first started the program, they were called satellites.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. Project Echo was one of them, if I recall correctly.
Got a new guest. Hey, I don't know what your full name is. Flat something. Hello?
Oh, yeah, it's me, Mind Warped.
Oh, pleased to have you, Mind Warped. You're a bit loud, by
Hey,
the way.
man, yeah.
You're a bit hot.
I was just...
Got about 5 minutes left, just so you know. Well, on the live show, stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley.
Sure.
Is that it? Just a session of accept my rhetoric? That's the best the fundies have got to offer these days, is it? Accept my spewing rhetoric.
Yeah, they're just in another corner.
I don't know. It really didn't seem like an argument to me. I felt like he had literally recorded himself fluently speaking out the arguments, and he was just pushing buttons, but also sitting alongside of it to be able to give the answer to what's your favorite color. But he was basically just with a switchboard in front of him pushing buttons, spewing pre-recorded rhetoric. That's exactly how it sounded. The tone was super consistent. He would talk over or right in the middle of people. So it was obviously pre-recorded what he was giving us.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that's the last thing they would do if they realize they're lost? They have no other opportunities.
Wrong, Arwen.
No,
that's
not
how
wrong.
he talks.
Huh?
That's how he talks. He's a regular on the Discord. That's how he talks.
Yeah, but those messages were pre-recorded.
No, I don't think so. That's just how he talked. But nevertheless, that's not pertinent to the point, is it? Who cares? So it doesn't matter how he's delivered, what he's delivered. What he's delivered is rhetoric that is unchallengeable. No challenge allowed. Zealotry.
It just seemed like baseline talking points. There was no in-depth argument to any of it.
Exactly.
He was more reasonable yesterday at Discord 247.
Yeah,
but then he gave up debating.
Those are clearly the things he holds to in terms of his sphere religion. Now he wants to declare them and then there be no challenge to them. Those things prove it. Now shut up, accept it, let's move on. Well, what about my challenge to it? Next point.
Yeah.
Zealotry.
Shout out to Jose Mesa over there at 24/7 Flat Earth Discord 2.0. You rock, man.
That's a good point, Nathan. That flat earthers should be aware of, because I noticed when they debate flat earthers, they use these tactics to like move on, and it seems to work frequently.
Yeah, it's hard to keep on track when you're debating a religious zealot, because as soon as you get to a winning point, they'll rumpus the conclusion and move on. Then they can hold on to their zealotry that much easier. If they don't have to listen to your demolition of their argument, they basically go, la 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 la. Right, next point. Now, how do you deal with this bit of zealotry? Oh, you can deal with that too. La la la, let's move on to the next. And so it goes on. Just like that dude. The only difference with that dude is he had literally nothing to address any rebuttal. Only his religious zealotry. Excellent example of zealotry. I like it when that happens. Any more, folks, before the live show rounds out? I'm going to definitely mute that.
Wires!
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in live on the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley, as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!